Video, I'm going to be talking through all of the yellow cards in the set. So the set's been out for about a week as the time of this recording, so I feel a lot more well placed to give some accurate opinions here rather than just an initial read through and initial impressions as what the previous one was. Some more in-depth thoughts on each colour. I've played around with most of the decks, so I feel reasonably confident. Of course, disclaimer: I might still be wrong on some cards. Make your own mind up. Don't follow what I say blindly. But you know, I think I'll be at least 80% right on most of this stuff. Any mistakes will be mine. Anyway, disclaimers out of the way. Let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with the base minion here for the Angel deck, which is the new deck. Obviously, old archetype, old attributes, new deck type. This says when advancing, second one of your minions with a cost of 4 or higher belong to the Angel class to enter the active state. So this will just reactivate any of your big stuff. This is obviously quite good. This lets you just trade a movement for potential lethal, which is obviously quite good. Then we got one cost here. Khaled the War Angel. When retreating, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Select an Angel, reel it at your hand, put the rest on the bottom of the deck. RNG, probably going off though. Most of the deck is Angel, so pretty good. I would say this is reasonable. However, yellow does have a lot of very solid options as far as cheap minions go. So I have seen decks that don't run this. So, yeah, there you go. Angelic Strike is obviously insane. Thing to know about all of these spells is they last for the game and they give the effect to your player, which means this thing where you select an opponent's minion and it cannot attack, block, or move, that bypasses, I think, pretty much every single form of cannot be targeted, which is obviously mental. Then we got Armon, the War Angel. Again, it's okay. It's a lot better off curve because it means that you can just swing it in without any worry. So it's pretty solid. Not your ideal 2-drop curve, not something you necessarily want to play on curve, but later on it's pretty solid. This is a staple for the Legion deck because you do tend to be running Pegasus, obviously in order to abuse your one advancing. So this is going to buff something by 2/1, which is pretty nice. Then we got a 2 cost here. So this is pretty nice. The problem is how often are you able to trigger targeting this with one of your effects. This feels like a very Kathleen kind of supporty card, but Kathleen has kind of fallen off a bit. If you're running a 2-drop focused deck, you're running an Angela version, and there's not really much space for Kathleen, so there's not that much space for buffing. This would have been like really much better if this came out in Forbidden. This card is, on the other hand, this card is crazy because it's flash speed. It's very easy to set up, and because it has a cost, which is really not much of a cost, if anything it kind of helps you because it lets you re-swoop. You just get to remove pretty much anything as long as it can be targeted, which is obviously amazing. And it's also, if you didn't have a swoop in hand already, enabling you to trigger your player ability from the level 1 spell. So all kinds of good. This card is obviously another staple, and also as a one advancing gives you Phoenix. So essentially Pegasus can direct replace Phoenix in this deck because you slap this down, move it in, move it out, and you just got a Phoenix. But then you have the versatility of also having access to Pegasus when you don't give a shit about needing mana on your opponent's turn or you can't make it work. So yeah, obviously the only downside is you have to get this card, but seems pretty easy. Then we got Gargantuan Gust. This is one of those Legion support spells that lets you pay color mana with Legion. They all have the same specified cost and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, just bouncing something that's attacking is kind of crazy. Like, one of the problems with Yellow's removal was that it sucked, like, at flash speed. So now having the ability to just go nope to one of your opponent's big things or something they're really reliant on, or something that they're okay with you destroying, or moving back to base. They just don't want you to return it to hand. Can be pretty valuable. Then we've got Dio. No JoJo references here. So, I mean, Swooper, there's 1 plus point. And the fact he buffs his own stats when attacking, and you can activate that multiple times with base minion, and there's also another restander, are all quite good. So he's going to be a solid amount of aggro for the deck, and again, obviously triggering that on that player skill. The level 2 for Angelic Strike just reactivates all your angels. So obviously if you've got a board set up, which you can actually do on your opponent's turn with enough mana by just swooping stuff in, well, you're probably going to win that turn if you can get this off with a reasonable board. And again, this is going to trigger this and that kind of stuff, right? Archibald, the War Angel here, another swooper, and another bit of removal. It is BP, not DP, so, you know, less good removal, still reasonable. 500 is not a small amount, and it is possible to buff it up a little, but yeah, like the decks tend to run Angela. But yeah, like it's okay, it's pretty good. Like, you run it, I'm pretty sure. Most decks I've seen anyway. And then we got the big boy, the big legendary Holly. I mean, she is an absolute beast. Swooper, when summoned, you just let one of your things win. But if it's your turn, all your angels win in battle when they attack. So obviously, you summon this. Like, ideally, you got 10 mana and you got some kind of board already. And you summon this, and you swing with something, and you swing, and then you just swing with everything. And your opponent blocks or whatever, and then you just cast your level 2 to restand your whole board, and that's your lethal for 10. How consistent is that? You know, you got to have the board, you got to have all this other stuff, but it's a very powerful method of lethal. Then we've got an Avian Legion, this is swoop, and if you're running Sphinx, you get to reactivate an Avian or Legion. This card is a okay card, but again, it doesn't really do anything for the Avian deck to make it viable, and it's not particularly useful in the Legion deck. The 2 cost is much more useful in Legion than this. And then Rock, Terror of the Mountain. This has that standard skill that all of these 9 costs have, where you reduce the basic cost by 3 for each destroyed forces. It swoops, so if you've maintained your mana, you can do it on your opponent's turn, and when summoned, your opponent just returns 2 their things to their hand. So depending on the matchup, this can be fucking ridiculous, right? For example, against white, this seems insane. One thing to note about it is it says your opponent chooses, which actually means that I'm pretty sure it bypasses this minion cannot be targeted by opponent's effects and stuff, because I think it's making your opponent do it. I'm reasonably sure. I'm not 100% sure on that, but even if it doesn't work like that, this is still super powerful, because if you're playing against a deck that, you know, doesn't summon that many things, this is just going to board wipe them. But obviously this is fucking dog shit against like token-based decks. So, there we go. I hope you guys found this interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed this little review. Yellow looks good. It looks really, really strong. I don't know if I necessarily like got that opinion out with the way I described this, but the general consensus is that yellow is going to be one of the top decks. But something to sort of, you know, keep in mind, as always, really, is that we could be wrong, but also something to keep in mind, which is really good, because it's been a while since it's been like this, is that every colour seems really viable. At the moment, the player base has yet to discover something bullshit broken. You know, we don't have the red battle spirits problem, where once we figure out, like, oh, golem summoning goes brr, we're not going to have that issue. It doesn't seem like it. And we don't have the blue mask issue, it seems like. So at the moment, it does seem like we're just going to have a really, really good meta, like reminiscent, this should be reminiscent of just when the game launched before Forbidden, when like that evolved meta, which was super diverse, and like whilst the best decks were super good, like it's not like you couldn't beat them. So yeah, this is a really solid format. I'm really excited for it, and if you want to build yellow, go ahead. Honestly, this is one of those times when you open your packs and you can literally let the polls guide you, unless there's a deck you're particularly enamored with, and you can do what you want. So yeah, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you did, leave a like on the video. Please comment your thoughts on yellow and on the format in general in the comment section down below. Check out the description for links to Discords and all that kind of stuff, and please subscribe to the channel. Get me to 1K, I'd really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers.